Hey everyone, it's Maria. Welcome to my channel. I've had lots of new subscribers in the last few weeks, so welcome if you're new, and if you're not, I really love having you guys keep commenting and keeping the discussion going. It's just pretty great, so thanks. All right, today I am doing a Booktube discussion tag on Frankenstein. Now, you might ask yourself, what is a Booktube discussion tag? And I will link that video down below. A Booktube discussion tag, though, is basically kind of a blend, mashup of the tag video, in which case people answer the same questions, and kind of discussion questions that you would ask in a book club. So I thought it would be really fun to kind of see what other people thought about the same books. So if you do a discussion tag on other books, or especially on Frankenstein, please link that below so other people can kind of see what's going on and add to the community. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Frankenstein. This is one of my long time favorites. I don't remember how many times I've read this, but it's been a lot. It is written by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. And for those of you who don't know, it is written about Dr. Frankenstein. The monster is actually not named Frankenstein, which always drives me crazy. But Dr. Frankenstein has experienced a lot of grief and loss. And in doing so, he has decided that he is going to use science to conquer death. Now, it doesn't go quite according to plan, because he uses corpses to kind of create a creature who then he doesn't know what to do with, and he doesn't love and nurture it. And the creature kind of turns not very good. Now, I do not blame the creature, because I feel like no one ever showed the creature love, and no one ever gave the creature a name, for goodness sakes. And no wonder he feels like he has no other option than resorting to violence, because he's not feeling the love from anybody. And I think that's just kind of how life happens. So Frankenstein for me has always been one of those books where I look back. A lot of my faith is based on this book, which is just kind of funny for some people to hear. But I just keep thinking about what it would feel like for a creation to know that a creator despised it and wished it had never been made. Just as a parent doing that to a child would cause some serious therapy issues. Yeah, everybody needs love. That is the point of Frankenstein, in my opinion. So, first question. What is something that you've always thought about creating that logistically is a horrible idea? Now, I grew up near train tracks, and I remember it taking so many minutes to get home. And there was one time where it was about 45 minutes to get home, because one train stopped and another train came, and it was ridiculous. And so I came up with the idea of having a jump button. A button that you could put on your car, and then you could leap over the train track and then keep going. Now, if you think about this, this is horrible. This is a terrible idea, because if you have one jump button here and one jump button here, and then you go up and you collide midair over a train, it would be bad. So that idea was never fully developed. And while you could probably do some sort of scope to try and check out the area and make sure it's okay, I think generally it's probably just a good idea to wait and be okay with waiting. Number 2, Frankenstein was written as a challenge between friends on a trip together. Which group of authors would you like to put in a vacation home together and see what comes out of it? So for this one, I'm going to pick a few different ones. First of all, Margaret Atwood. She is of Handmaid's Tale fame. Although she's written a lot of different things, all of her books that I've read and come across seem to have very different societies, lots of quirks to them. Her brain is just so, she never does the same thing twice. At least I don't feel like it. Although she does seem to kind of interweave social issues into her books, which I love. So I would love to have Margaret Atwood as the first author. The second person I would invite is Ian McEwan. He wrote Atonement, was probably his biggest one, but I actually have not read that one. I've just seen the movie. Nutshell I read by him, which was a Hamlet retelling written from an unborn child's perspective, and I just thought it was brilliant. His writing is good. So many lines in there I wanted to underline, and just, this is how life is. He just has a really good knack for explaining the little nuances of humanity to people. while keeping it interesting. His perspectives are always different. There's oftentimes something you don't know until you kind of finalize the book. Yes, I think it'd be interesting to see him come to the writing competition. And the third person that I would invite is Jessie. She wrote Homegoing last year, and if you're on Booktube as long as last year, you've seen it. Homegoing is a multi-generational 200-year story of the impact of slavery and freedom on one family, and what differences those things made years and years and years later. I just think not only did her characters come alive for me, she sees the world in a very interesting way, very honest way, very brutal sometimes. She's not afraid to make your stomach kind of squirm a little bit. And it's her debut novel. I cannot wait to see where she goes from here. Honestly, it's kind of hard when you do such a good debut, because then you worry about the next one. But I would love to see her at a writing competition. And then I would also invite Jim Kay to do the illustrations. He did the illustrations for A Monster's Call, as well as the new illustrated Harry Potters. And I just think I want him to illustrate my life. He's just such a beautiful artist. So Jim Kay. Number 3, what is your biggest takeaway from the book? My biggest takeaway from the book, I kind of shared a little bit before. People become what they are told often enough. So, for example, if I tell myself over and over again that I'm fat, ugly, stupid, whatever I've decided to tell myself, I start to believe it. And when other people do it, it ingrains even deeper. I feel like I specifically remember comments that have stuck with me, and I will go back to them in the dark times and hear them over and over again and start to believe their truth. And yeah, for me, Frankenstein is about the need for love and the need for acceptance and belonging and community and nurture, and what can happen if those things are not there. It's not just about should we play with life and death, and do we have the right to play God? It's much more than that for me. So that is that for me. Number 4, what would you recommend to an adult that was just starting to read? In the book, Frankenstein learns to read, and that's when he finds his creator's notes on him and really starts to kind of see what his creator thought of him. So hopefully reading is a much more pleasurable experience for you. But I would love to know from you guys, what are some books that you would recommend to somebody who is new to reading for pleasure? So I have a few different suggestions. First up is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. He is the host of The Daily Show. I loved that Born a Crime not only had comedy in it, so I felt like everybody likes comedy. It was very approachable from that. But also, he has some really great insights on language, on apartheid, on racism, on fitting in, on success. I just really appreciated all of that he had to say. Secondly, I would recommend What Alice Forgot by Liane Moriarty. She actually got me back into pleasure reading as an adult. And in What Alice Forgot, a woman who is, she just has had a fall and wakes up and does not remember the last 5 years of her life, 5 or 10 years. It's a long time. And when she wakes up, she goes back to thinking life is like what it was. And so her marriage was fine, and she hadn't had kids yet, and so many things. And so she has to relearn how to do this stage of life. Also finding out along the way some things that she is really mucked up. She finds out that she's in the middle of a divorce. I think that's on the book cover, so that's not a spoiler. Or at least a separation. There's a lot that she just does not know how her life went a complete opposite direction. And I was on the edge of my seat the entire time reading it. It made me think so much about my own life and how I wanted to live. And I love books like that. And the third book that I would recommend is for people who are wanting to get into reading classics that maybe they thought they should have read in high school, but then didn't. Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. John Steinbeck you know how I feel about him. But Of Mice and Men is only about 100 pages, and it is a great story on friendship of two men who are dreamers and are trying to get a better life, and they are having to struggle together. One of them is more simple-minded, and the other one kind of has to try and caretake for him, doesn't want him to have advantage taken of him, and it was just a beautiful, beautiful book. I cried a lot, and then I watched the play and I cried some more. But it's just a really, really well done book with so many deep thoughts to it, and very approachable, I think. Number 5, I believe that the monster could have turned out differently if someone, especially Dr. Frankenstein, would have showed it love and acceptance. So in this question, I would love to ask, what sorts of random acts of kindness or love and acceptance would you like to see more widespread in our world? And I'm going to go ahead and say that the number one thing that I think would be pretty easy to do is all of the bumper stickers and t-shirts, and mainly bumper stickers and t-shirts, where they basically say like, my kid's better than your kid, or my opinion's the one that matters the most, or those kinds of things. I would love to see those just evaporate in the air. It really, really is one of my pet peeves when I see people kind of shouting from the rooftops that their opinion is the only one that counts. So that would be an easy fix, I think. Number 2, I would love it that instead of making fun of people on like, okay, here's another pet peeve I have. Now, we all know how people talk about certain stores, for instance, Walmart. And I think there is even like a website where people post pictures of people at Walmart and how they're dressed as. And then lots of people make comments below. That really hurts my heart, because I feel like, what if that person who was in that picture was scrolling through or saw it reposted on somebody's page and then like saw what the world was laughing at them for on something, just like whether it was their weight or their outfit. And yes, I know that there's some really inappropriate outfits that people wear, but to have that reposted and then people comment like on strangers, and it just makes my stomach queasy to think about. So that is the 2 things that I would love if the world did a better job at. And I try to do a good job on that. And then the last question is, are there any other ideas that you would like to add, or any questions you would like to add for the book? Some ones that I thought of that I actually could not think of an answer for, but I would love to hear what other people said, was Mary Shelley obviously is known for writing Frankenstein, but she wrote other things. So what are some under the radar books that are written by an author that maybe made it big for one particular book, and then the other ones kind of got discounted? I could not think of one that was not a children's book, so I didn't come up with an answer. But anyway, I would love to hear what you guys think about the book Frankenstein. What do you think of these questions? If you don't have a channel and want to play along and write your answers to the questions in the comments, that's fine. Again, there aren't rules on participation here. Just, we like to see participation. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Bye.